Not sure who you should bring in ahead of game week 30? Then here are the best transfer tips in order to help you make the right decision. Let's get into it.
Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game, where fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top, guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wild cards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
Good day, mate. Welcome back to the channel. I'm FPL Root and welcome back to another FPL video. So in today's video, we're going through my top transfer tips ahead of game week 30. So a lot of people might be on the wild card, so definitely check out my wild card video if you are. If you're not, then I think these are some of the players that you should be bringing in, no matter what strategy you're playing, whether you're free hitting in 34, wild carding next week, or etc. etc. I think these are some of the top targets for the next, I guess, 1 to 4 weeks. First up, I want to talk about Mohamed Salah. So he does come in at 13 million. He's still the second most expensive player in the game, behind Haaland. 22.1% own. So to be honest, for Salah, that is very, very low. Obviously, he's been out injured. He's now back. He's now scoring. And to me, he's got to be back in our team straight away. Brighton at home next, and then Sheffield United at home. So two very, very nice fixtures for Salah. Then Man United away. For me, Man United for Salah is still a good game, and then Crystal Palace at home. So 3 home fixtures in the next 4 is the reason why he's on this list, and because he's obviously Mo Salah. Before he did get injured, he was on form, to be honest. 20 starts, 15 goals, 9 assists. So incredible goal ratio, good assists as well. 24 returns in 20 games. For me, Salah's straight back in the team. If he's fit, he's started, he's scored goals, he is back in the team, and especially for this run-in for Liverpool, it does look very, very good. Even after the Palace game, they've got Fulham away, West Ham away, Spurs at home, Villa away, Wolves at home, and then they've also got Everton away to be put into a double game week. It's likely to be game week 37, so that will be a double game week of Villa away and Everton away. Again, not the easiest, but if they're fighting for that title, you know Liverpool are going to be up for it, and you know Mo Salah is going to be amongst the goals. You could argue it's a lot of money. Yes, it is a lot of money, but Salah is worth it. He's shown this season, he's shown over the last 5 seasons that if he's fit and he's firing, he is in your team. Also, another thing to note is he is actually a very nice captain option over the next 2 game weeks. Haaland plays Arsenal in game week 30, where Salah has Brighton at home. You've also got Son with Luton at home, but with how up and down Spurs' form is recently, I probably do fancy Salah in that game week. In game week 31, fair enough. Haaland, he plays Aston Villa. You're going to fancy him to do well in that game, even though Villa are a very solid team. But Villa do concede goals away from home, so potentially you could say Haaland. But Salah plays Sheffield United at home, if not anyway. So even in that game, that does look very, very nice for him. Okay, the Old Trafford game, fair enough. Haaland has Crystal Palace away. But after that, City play Luton at home, Liverpool play Palace at home. You could argue that's 50-50. And then, yeah, Spurs play Man City, so in game week 34. And then Liverpool have Fulham away. So again, another opportunity to captain Salah. So for me, get Salah in. If it's not this week, definitely next week. You're going to want him in your teams. He's going to be scoring goals. He's going to be firing. And I think it's pretty much a no-brainer if you can afford him. Next up, I'm going to talk about Muniz. So the striker that is absolutely on fire at the minute. He's just scored against Spurs. He scored 2 against Spurs. He scored 7 in his last 8. It's 8 returns in his last 8. Started 10 games this season only as well, and he's got 8 returns. It's ridiculous. And for 4.6 million and 3.5% owned, I really do like him. I know Raul Jimenez is back, but I can't see him getting dropped. He's literally on fire, the geezer. And the fact that Fulham have actually started to put in a few wins together, started to look like a half-decent team, to be totally honest with you. Yeah, I just can't see him being dropped. And for 4.6 million, basically he's going to be your 8th attacker, so you're not going to need him every single week. But especially over the next 2, Sheffield United away and then Nottingham Forest away, I really do like him. I've said this so many times that I do think Sheffield United are worse at home. So for Fulham to play them away, which means it's at Sheffield United's home, I think it can be a very, very nice option. And I think Moon is going to do well in that game. Okay, you could argue that Raul Jimenez is back. He's going to come back into the team. He's going to basically take up Munez's spot, and then you're going to end up with a player that is not going to play. Yes, that could happen. But if you still got your wild card, who cares? You can take him out on your wild card whenever that is, and then worry about that later. If you already played your wild card, then fair enough. Like, you could argue that okay, it's probably not the best decision because Raul Jimenez will come back, but I actually don't think he's going to come back into the team straight away. One, he's injured and he's very injury prone, so I can't see them throwing him in like quickly. And also, Munez is, like I said, is on fire. You're not dropping him. You're just not dropping him. And for that reason, I do think he is a very, very nice pick. Like I said, Fulham's fixtures are really nice, to be honest, until most of the season. Like I said, Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest next to. Then Newcastle and West Ham. Newcastle have been shipping goals recently. West Ham, they're going to have Europe in between them sort of games. So who knows how they're going to get on. Then they've got Liverpool at home. Okay, tough game. But then they've got Crystal Palace at home, Brentford away, and then City at home, and then Luton away on the last game of the season. So no doubles for Fulham, which is another thing to consider. But like I said, until you play your wild card for the next 2 games at least, I think he is a very, very nice option. And the geezer's on fire. Like, what more can you want? So first of all, I can't believe I am picking this player in my video, and I'd like to apologise to Neil Robertson. I was on FPL Juice with him before the season started. A massive Chelsea fan, world snooker champion as well, and he was recommending to bring in Jackson because of how well he did in pre-season, and I was having none of it. I thought he was very, very wasteful, which he did end up being very, very wasteful. But to be fair, he hasn't been as bad as I thought this season, and I do think he is a nice option, to be honest, probably until the rest of the season. So he started 20 games, he's got 9 goals, 3 assists, 12 returns in 20 is not bad for his first season. Obviously, Chelsea haven't been that great, so it doesn't help him and doesn't help his goal-scoring form. But for 6.8 million, 4.3% owned, I actually don't mind him as a pick, especially over like if you could get him for the rest of the season. I think he can be a nice pick. Burnley at home next, which I think is a very good game. Then Man United at home, we know that can be goals. Sheffield United away, Everton at home, Brighton away, who concede goals. Then they've got Villa, West Ham, Forest, Bournemouth, which looks like a very, very nice run-in for Chelsea. However, well, it's not however, because it is a game in hand and it is, I guess, a double game week. But Spurs at home and then Arsenal away is their games to be rescheduled. That is going to be potentially 36 and 37. It's not guaranteed yet, but it's going to go in there somewhere. So for me, Chelsea are going to have one of the most rescheduled games of the whole season, to be honest. They're going to have at least 2 rescheduled, and if they make it through to the FA Cup, this is being recorded before their game, then they potentially could have even more. And for me, I really do like Nicholas Jackson for the run-in. Yes, there are a lot of good forwards out at the minute. Yes, you can go Solanke, Watkins, Muniz, as I've mentioned. There are so many options up front. But I think if you did want to go for that little bit of a differential to complement Palmer, so have Palmer as well, I'd always go Palmer as the first option if you're looking at Chelsea. But Nicholas Jackson can be a very nice differential. And again, I'm so sorry, Neil Robertson, for disregarding Nicholas Jackson. But now I think he is a good option. Early on in the season, I think he was wasteful and probably is still wasteful. Don't get me wrong, he is still wasteful. But I think with them fixtures and the fact that Chelsea are starting to find, I don't want to say form, because I've done this throughout the whole season to say Chelsea are starting to claw it back, etc. But they're starting to look a bit better, I'd say, and I think Jackson can do the business towards the end of the season, and they've got more games than anyone else. So for me, if you are looking for a punt, I think Jackson can be a good one. So next to another player that misses a load of chances too. Very similar players, to be honest, but I'd probably say Darwin's a little bit better and a little bit of a better finisher. But yeah, I am talking about Darwin Núñez, 7.5 million, 13.9% owned. He's had a very, very good season, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people like to joke about him, how he's a trap and you shouldn't bring him into FPL. But 17 starts, 20 returns. What more could you literally ask for? 7.5 million as well, which is a very good price for, I guess, Liverpool's number 9. Fixtures as well for Liverpool, as I've mentioned. Brighton at home, Sheffield United at home, very, very good fixtures. Man United away, Palace at home, Fulham away, etc., etc. Then they've also got Everton away to be rescheduled. They do, I guess, potentially have a double in 37, which should be that Everton away game. But if they do end up getting through to the FA Cup, the game week in 34 could end up being a blank. But again, that Everton game could go in there as well. So it's not any. None of these fixtures are confirmed of yet. But I do think Darwin Núñez is a good pick, at least for the next 4 game weeks. Like I said, 3 home games against teams that do ship quite a few goals, especially Sheffield United and especially Brighton. I do think he is a very, very nice option. And for 20 returns in this season with 17 starts, I think he's so, so good. And I know, like I said previously, I've recommended 3 strikers, and there are a lot of strikers at the minute. It's just about nailing a couple of them. But I think Darwin is just ahead of Muniz and Jackson. I think Darwin and obviously Haaland are probably the go-to picks for the rest of the season. And I think add in one of maybe Jackson, Muniz, and then we'll talk about one more later on in the video. I think can be the front 3. Obviously, if you need to save money, then I would go for Muniz. But if you're not, if you're kind of going and you're set on 3 up front and you know there's going to be enough strikers to get you through that, then maybe you can go Jackson and Darwin, and then someone like Isak. But for now, I think bring in Darwin. If you can't afford Salah, definitely bring in Darwin. If you can afford both, get both, to be honest, because Salah is a machine and a captain option, but Darwin can be that little bit of a differential where a lot of people are just going to have Salah. So you've got both, so you can end up capitalising on Liverpool's fixtures and how good they are. And to be honest, they're starting to get their players back from injury. Okay, they got through pretty well without that, but they started to get back from injury. They're only going to be better and better and better. And for me, Darwin is going to be a huge part of that. And I can't see him losing his spot. Jota's out injured. They've also got a few other injuries. Obviously, Trent's back. But other than that, I do really like Liverpool. And I think they're going to do the business from now until the end of the season. Obviously, Darwin Núñez is Darwin Núñez. He's missed his chances. But don't let that fool you, because he is a very, very good finisher when he wants to be. And I think he's going to get goals in this run-in. So, yeah, bring in Darwin Núñez. So now we've got another forward. So I did mention him a little bit in the last clip. Alexander Isak, the Newcastle forward. A player that I actually feel goes under the radar. I feel no one actually talks about him unless Callum Wilson's injured, which is... I understand why. Obviously, you want him to be nailed. You want him to play up front. When Callum Wilson is in the team and is playing and is not injured, he normally goes to the left. But now with Anthony Gordon out there, I don't see anyone taking Anthony Gordon's spot on the left. So I think Isak is going to be Newcastle's number 9 for the foreseeable. Callum Wilson is a very good player, but I think the fact that Isak is reliable, I think he's going to be a starting forward for now until probably the next few years, unless they obviously have to sell him. 17 starts, 12 goals this season. A very good return for a poor Newcastle side, to be honest with you. They started the season off okay. They lost 3 of the first 4, but after that, they went on a good run. They were unbeaten until game week 12. To be honest, since game week 15, they've been very, very iffy, and I don't really trust them, but I think their fixtures are worth a punt, and I think Isak is a quality player. So West Ham at home, Everton at home in the next 2. And then they've got Fulham away, again, good fixture. Then Spurs at home, we know how poor Spurs' defence is. And then Man United away, Man United, who knows. But then they've got Sheffield United at home, Burnley away, Brighton at home, Brentford away, and then their game to be rescheduled is Crystal Palace away. So from 35 onwards, they've got Sheffield United, Burnley, Brighton, Brentford and Palace. I think they've got the best fixture list, to be honest, out there. The big teams they are playing is Spurs and Man United, and they both can concede goals. So for me, I really do like Alexander Isak. I probably prefer Gordon if you can get him into your team, just for the price point and just because I feel like there are a lot of forwards at the moment, as I've just mentioned, half of them. Muniz, Darwin, Jackson. So there are a lot of forwards around that price point and cheaper. So if you can go Gordon, I'd go Gordon, but I really do like Isak, to be totally honest with you, and especially Newcastle's fixtures. And it's definitely worth a punt. A lot of people are not going to be looking at at Newcastle in general because of their form, because of how bad they've been this season. But to be honest, I'm not about form. I do look at players' form. Don't get me wrong, but I'm all about trying to see and predict the future and look at the fixtures. If you know Isak is a quality player, Newcastle are a decent team. I know they haven't shown that much this season, but they are a decent team. And all it's going to take, as we've seen earlier on in the season, a good fixture run, and they start to pick back their form. And Newcastle have a very good fixture run until the end of the season. And I think Isak can be a big part of that and score loads of goals for your team. So if you are looking for a forward, I think one of these four options, Muniz, Jackson, Darwin, and Isak, have to be in your team alongside Been Haaland. Given a lot of airtime to the forwards, which is fair enough. They get us our most points. But I did want to give some love to the defenders. I want to talk about Gusto. So 4.2 million, and he's only 6.9% owned. A lot of people had him in maybe a few weeks ago, a few months ago. But obviously Chelsea's form wasn't great. He ended up getting, I think he got a red card, missing a few games. But now he's back, he's playing. I think Reece James I think he's out for the season, to be honest. Even if he is back, I don't see Poch risking him. And he's not obviously not trustworthy to stay fit. So Gusto, I think he's got that right wing back, right back spot nailed, depending on what formation they play. 15 starts it is, 5 assists, which for me is very good, again, for this Chelsea side. And I think for 4.2 million, I think it can be a nice differential, to be honest. And like I said, Chelsea's fixtures are ridiculous. Burnley at home, Man United at home, Sheffield United away, Everton at home, Brighton away, Villa away, West Ham at home, Forest away, Bournemouth at home. And then they've got 2 games to be rescheduled, which is Spurs at home and Arsenal away. So a lot of double game weeks coming up for Chelsea, at least 2, absolute minimum 2, potentially 3. And yes, their defensive form hasn't been great. I can't actually remember the last time they kept a clean sheet. I think it was game week 21 against Fulham when they won 1-0. But Gusto is very, very attacking. And I think with them fixtures and with Chelsea starting to pick up a few wins and not be so terrible, then I do actually really, really like Gusto. And for 4.2 million, he can sit on your bench. There's no worries at all. And you can play him when he does have a double game week at the bare minimum. But speaking of 4.2 million defenders, we'll get on to the next player. So another 4.2 million defender, as I've just mentioned. So we've got Branthwaite, the defender from Everton, 4.2 million, 5.9% owned. So again, another player that the team is shocking, like at the minute. Everton actually done so well to get, not even be in a relegation zone when they had that 10-point deduction. But the last, I'd say, 10 games, they've been so bad and they've been conceding so many goals. They've lost 6 out of the last 10 and then drawn the other 5, 6. Yeah, they're just so bad at the minute. I don't know what's happened, to be honest. But I have got a lot of faith in Sean Dyche to bring it back round, to get them back on form. And their fixtures do show that they can do that. Bournemouth away, then Newcastle away. Then they've got Burnley at home, Chelsea away, Forest at home, Brentford at home, Luton away, Sheffield United at home. So very, very nice running from game week 34 to 37. Then they've got Arsenal away in the last game of the season. And then they've got Liverpool to be rescheduled somewhere as a double game week. Obviously, the fixtures are not that easy, but that running from 34 to 37 is very, very nice. Even the Bournemouth away game, Burnley at home game in 32 is very, very nice. They play all the 3 newly promoted sides, all the sides in the bottom 3. And for 4.2 million, 5.9% owned, I actually really do like Branthwaite. He scored 2 goals as well this season, which, again, for an Everton defender, is actually very, very good. He started 25 games, and I think for the bench, to play him in these odd games, Burnley at home, Sheffield United game, Luton game, I actually really do like him. And especially the fact that he does rotate kind of well with most defences, because a lot of teams have tough fixtures in the games where Everton have half-decent fixtures. Let's give an example now, just get it up. So say in game week 30, they've got Bournemouth away, which again, it's not an easy game, but Man City play Arsenal, so that's 2 defences ruled out. Then in game week 31, Everton have got Newcastle away. Okay, that's tough-ish. And then you've got Everton play Burnley at home, where Man United play Liverpool in that game week, so maybe 2 defences that are out of the question. And then Everton, okay, they've got Chelsea in 33. Then in 34, they've got Forest at home, where Newcastle play Man United, Spurs play City. So again, some tough teams ruled out in terms of defensive options. In game week 35, Everton have Brentford at home. Okay, Spurs play Arsenal, so that's ruled out. Any Spurs or Arsenal defenders. In 36, Everton have got Luton. Liverpool play Spurs. Again, that's ruled out. 37, okay, 37 is looking okay, but you've got Man United v Arsenal. But yeah, my gist is he can come in handy, and I think 4.2 million, you know he's going to have a double game week. I think he can be a nice bench option, but I won't be rushing out to buy him. Anyway, that was it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below of these transfer tips. Let me know if any of my previous transfer tips have helped you out and helped you out with your team. Please do smash a like, and let's try and hit 2,000 subscribers before the end of the season. To be honest, I really do need your help with that. Please share with a friend, share on any social media accounts you own or follow. Yeah, just put the word out there, because I really do want to hit this number, 2,000 for the end of the season. And yeah, I really do appreciate every single one of you that has subscribed. And if you haven't, please hit that button. It's absolutely free and it does help me out a lot. And I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.